Polyamory alarm. If you should meet somebody saying, "I am polyamorous, but please don't tell my wife, she doesn't know," then your polyamory alarm should go off. Or rather, your cheating alarm. Somebody's out there cheating, because polyamory is about transparency. It's about all the people involved knowing what is going on and being part of it. So they might not love everybody, but they are accepting the other relationships. But how to start a new relationship? A good thing is to sit down and make an agreement with yourself on what kind of relationship do you wish to have. And then the second thing is to make an agreement. Well, if you are alone, of course you have to just agree with yourself. But if you are together with either in a couple or you are in a group of people, you should make an agreement about how it's going to work. Like me, when I was together with one of my partners, we made an agreement that well, she did not want anyone in the same town, that I should have a partner or relationship with a person in that town, because she didn't want to feel that she could meet this person anytime when she was walking the streets. And the second thing was that we agreed that smoking was not something we didn't want. So these were the two initial rules we started off with, of course including safer sex. We'll come to safer sex a bit later. So of course, when you make a plan, reality is going to come and do something with it. And if you want to make the gods laugh, then tell them your plans. So of course I met this girl in Paris and she was smoking. Not that much, and as Paris is a big city, she lived in another part of Paris. And then after talking about it, we said, well, the really important things are, except for the safer sex thing, honesty and not lying. So that we are in relationships that we don't have to lie about, or that the person in these relationships does not have to lie about. Another guideline we have for our relationships, or that I keep for my relationships, is that if I meet a person and I'm interested and we are together 1 to 3 times, we can be together either sexually or learning to know each other 1 to 3 times, and before we communicate to the others, or before we communicate that we're polyamorous. Now we have this because it's not always possible to say anything. So a rule like you have to tell you're polyamorous before kissing her or holding her hand, that seems to me senseless. But to meet at least 1 to 3 times, then you know if there is an interest or if it's just something that's passing by your window. My wish and desire is to tell that I'm polyamorous as soon as possible. And that's usually, if it's difficult to bring this topic up in the conversation, then it might be a sign that, well, it doesn't really work. One thing that's good about not telling every time I'm falling in love or my partner is falling in love is that it keeps a sort of stability in the relationship. But I think it was also very good and important things in the first period of being, in this case, a polyamorous couple, that we were telling these things to each other. It was a very good training. Yes, it was a big education to talk about this thing and listen to somebody other talking about your sexual, well, the two of you sexual relationships and desires and wants. if you're an individual, say what it is you want. There is no guarantee you get it, but you're giving your partner a choice to say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And then a lot of, well, quite a few poly people who's single have said, but nobody wants me if I tell what I want. And they're sort of expecting, well, nobody wants you. And then is it better to be open about what you want, or do you have to take that discussion later? Because at one point you will have to take it. If you're a couple, well, make sure you know the agreements and be ready to adjust. Because it's living human beings with their own desires, with their own wishes coming. I mean, there's very few plans that survives reality, is my experience. And you might look at the agreement. Is it to inform the other when something is about to happen, or is it okay to inform when it has happened? Do you need consent to do something before, or is it okay to say, hey, this happened, can I go on? And one important thing is that the agreements you need to get started might not be the agreements you continue with, so you should probably take a look at them once in a while. So, if you are a group, now this might be a family, a chosen family, a tribe or a network, and my definition of a group is when it's more than 3 adult people in the group. And it's basically the same as the couple. Make sure you know what your agreements are. And because there's more moving parts included, the agreements have probably to be a bit clearer. Or they will become, because you will have to find a way for 3 people to formulate something that you think, okay, this is something I'm comfortable with, this is something that I can do. So, you made your agreements, you have made your guidelines, you have been speaking, so where do you go? Well, you can go to a poly convention, you can go to a dating site, you can go to well, you can go, I mean, you have gay bars and you have, but you don't really have any poly bar as such. So the polys are not so visible always. It's hard to look at the person and say, hey, this person has 2 relationships or more. So to meet poly people, you have to be open about what you want. That's a good start. And then asking for what you want. Again, this doesn't guarantee anything. And if you go to poly meetings, then it's not necessarily a good idea to go there to date, but rather to meet people and to know, what does this really consist of? And maybe if you are learning the communication, people who want the same thing might help you formulate more clearly what you have to say, or at least give you support when you're a one poly, or when you are a couple, or when you are a group searching for new people to love. The last thing I would say is an important thing is give the other person or person a chance to say no. Sometimes a no is a no, but other times it might need some time to ripen. And then you're giving the other person a chance to come to you. Continuing to ask and ask and ask will not help. So, my 3 suggestions to you if you are going is to find a poly partner, is to be friendly, to communicate your wishes, and to respect the no's. I think your chances will go up if you do those things. So, to end off this one, I'd like to ask you today's homework. Where is it that you possibly meet other poly people? Do you have some recommendations? Is it online? Is it offline? And I'd like you to think about, how do we inform that you are poly to your new partner? And how do you inform your existing relationships? And what agreements, rules, guidelines do you have concerning relationship initiation, dating, flirting? So let's have a look at one possible situation. You're out in a bar, or taking a walk in the nature, or you are meeting somebody, and you're saying, well, I'm polyamorous, and the other person answers, no. Polyamorous, what does that mean? Polyamorous means that I can have many loves, and if you want to, you can call my significant other and ask if it's okay. Now, this is no guarantee, but it should at least show that you're ready to take care of the level of transparency and being open about the theme.